But when are they coming in? They're coming in at the time of Isa alayhi salam. If they're coming in the time of Isa alayhi salam, then where are they right now? They better be on this planet, because they'll be breeding till Isa alayhi salam comes in. And if we cannot see them right now, that will only mean that we have not discovered this planet.
Yeah.
So much so that we have not discovered most of this planet, because these people are 999 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay, by at least.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So these people either have come in, and a lot of scholars say that they came in way before you can talk about. Then why are we talking about Isa alayhi salam and Yajuj Majuj?
Yeah.
Why is Isa alayhi salam going to kill them? And why Allah is saying that we've opened up Yajuj and Majuj?
Yeah.
So that cannot be the Chinese or the Caucasians.
So now moving on to ayah number 92 from the story where Zulqarnain met a nation who did not have any protection from the sun. So he fixes that for them. And then ayah number 92 says, then he traveled a third course. He took another means. 93, until he reached a pass between two mountains. He found in front of them a people who could hardly understand his language.
Yeah, the real question here is the way, because this word Saddain comes in the next ayah in a singular form, Sadda, in 93.
Yeah.
So he didn't build a mountain.
Yeah.
Because they asked him to build a barrier. Okay, let's just assume that we can take the current translators, the wall, he built a wall. So that word in plural would not mean walls.
Yeah.
Because right now he hasn't built anything right now.
Yeah.
So hatta idha balagha bayna saddain means two different barriers. It's not a mountain. Well, in their very words, if we check the conventional translation, would mean that hatta idha balagha bayna saddain means
between the two
until
walls.
he reached the two walls.
Yeah.
Okay, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He actually is going towards or between two different doorways, which are closed or open, doesn't matter. But the point is, at that time, I think they were open. But these are two passes, two gateways. And wajada min dunihima would mean beyond that. When he went beyond that, he found beyond those two passes. Dunihima is a plural again of the two. With dunihim would mean more than two. So wajada means he found beyond them people. So this is something which is very, very critical in this specific part of the surah. It takes real life into how we're going to actually put that word sababa into its real meaning. Because if sababa is a pathway towards different dimensions or planets or places in the universe, this would mean a totally different thing. It's not a mountain.
Yeah.
And plus the next ayah itself says it's not a mountain, because Taj'ala baynana wa baynahum sadda.
Yeah.
That's how it ends.
That's in ayah number 94.
93.
Sadda. The word sadda is in 94.
94, sorry, 94. Yeah. So in 93, it says saddain.
Yeah.
So it's all sitting on that pillar of sababa. And summa atba'u sababa is the same word which leads to the meaning of saddain and sadda. So this is where the bigger delta comes into, how the conventional scholars are using this translation versus what I think is going to open a bigger canvas of how we should look at the whole universe and the whole this schema of how things are being run. And now we know through science that this is not just a myth. However, let's just come to science later. Let's just talk about history. We know that historically there have been civilizations who've been talking about this blatantly, not in any gray symbols. They were talking about literal journeys. Not only that they drew about it, but they actually had a lot of narrative specifics to people and names of people, and the kind of stories that they have been talking about, they have a lot more relevance to our theological backdrop of Idris alayhi salam and before Adam alayhi salam and right after Adam alayhi salam. And it takes me right into the heart of the matter, which is Nuh alayhi salam. Quite frankly, Idris alayhi salam, since Surah Maryam has Idris alayhi salam, that's why I keep referring to him. However, the real relevance to all of that and the proof of all of this sits inside the story of Nuh alayhi salam. And since Nuh alayhi salam has a very peculiar advantage over every other prophet, and that's his age.
Yeah.
We have to really try and explain all of those mysteries, which are mysteries.
Yeah.
Through Surah Kahf's these doors of Surah Kahf. So let's just say if Sababa is the actual portal towards things, that will also put Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam's perspective right in the place. That would also mean that Nuh alayhi salam was way more than 950 years of age, since the age of Dawah of Nuh alayhi salam is 950 in the Quran.
Yeah.
Now, why would there be not more generations over generations, more than 60 generations of Nuh alayhi salam in this planet while he was doing Dawah? But we only find one generation. And the big dispute about whether the desolation was over the planet or not, the bigger question was how did he actually gather up all the animals in the Bible?
Yeah.
Which of course the Quran refers to as well.
Yeah.
Quran did not use the word every, but the Quran used the word in an imperative tense as to gather the females and the males of the animals. Now, Quran did not specify if they're not every animal. Yeah. So we'll have to take the Bible's account on this.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why I'm talking about Nuh and Idris alayhi salam, because this is the one of those moments where the Quran is actually, opening up the Muslim eye towards all of those things. So what my contention is, well, actually, let me just give you my perspective first, that if Nuh alayhi salam was 950 plus and Adam alayhi salam was 1,000 years plus, then there has to be some sort of an event which we know in terms of physiology of the human being, that all of a sudden no human being is going to live more than about, let's just say 100 years old.
Yeah.
And that too is such a big question mark.
Is there a hadith also about it?
About people having more ages before Musa alayhi salam and all that, which of course is explained here as well, because Isa alayhi salam is 2063 right now. So we can really know of how Nuh alayhi salam and Adam alayhi salam were taking their ages, and this also explains all of that puzzle. That because I always used to wonder as to why Nuh alayhi salam had a 950 year of dawah,
yet just one
child who was first generation only.
Yeah, he
should have been talking to the greatest of his greatest grandsons at that time.
Yeah,
and that should have been a population of millions of people.
Yeah,
I'm not, because he's not the only one who's having kids. I'm talking about the whole tree of the whole tribe and all the people of Nuh. So it's a bigger problem that I don't know why the thought does not really ponder over those certain areas of the Quran, because they're really open. It's it's a matter of common sense as to why wouldn't we think about this? And the explanation comes from here, because as soon as we put the concept of time in portals, all of a sudden you can understand as to
the possibility of everything.
Exactly. It explains it way more simply than anything else that you want to do it and do here through other spectrums. So the fact that if we combine the Bible and the Quran together in the specific context of Nuh alayhi salam, there's a reason why Nuh alayhi salam becomes that much more important, because the Bible itself says that the time of Dajjal is going to be the time of Nuh. Exact same sort of things are going to happen.
Wow!
So this is a very big key that we might be using later on. So if every animal in the Bible is correct, which it seems so, there's way more probability of that being correct than only the local animals or some animals, because there's no way to prove that. There's a lot more ways of proving that every animal was collected. But then the question is, how can one man collect every animal?
From the whole planet Earth.
Yeah. No, maybe not just from the planet. Why are we just keeping it from the planet? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but could be, let's just say it's just from the planet. But if we have this sort of technology, then that's not even a problem. That is so not a problem. Because then you have no limitation of time. And still, whatever, since there is some sort of, because the Surah Ma'arij says that, you know, there is some sort of time lapse from, even if that journey is taken at that speed, still some time will be passed.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying that 950 years would pass to do the mission of Nuh in every portal that he was doing, through every portal, the use of every portal. And 950 years were passed here in the portals. In age on this planet, he was a regular age guy. That's why he just had one son or one generation.
There's another hadith about the Mi'raj of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but I don't think it's authentic.
Yeah, it's not. Otherwise, that would have been my first go-to hadith.
But let's just mention it. Because,
yes, please.
Because why is it still found in the Zaif hadith is that when Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was about to pass, he asked the Jibreel that I was promised the age of 73 or 93 maybe. But I'm only 63 right now, and the angel replies that because you spent 20 or 25 years of your life on Mi'raj.
Yeah, so, and I personally want to use that hadith.
Yeah.
And because it fits right in the puzzle.
Yeah.
Of Nuh alayhi salam and Adam alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam and so on and so forth, and Idris alayhi salam.
Yeah.
And here we must mention the story of Harut Marut as well. Because Harut Marut, Ali bin Abi Talib says that Harut and Marut were in the time of Idris alayhi salam. Now this is
wow.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I'm mentioning Harut Marut, because this is the same sort of doors that Harut Marut are known for.
Yeah. So, well, one point here, like Harut Marut is a very interesting story because they are the only two angels who lived on Earth as human beings.
Yeah.
Like people at least recognize them as human beings. And then if they are in the time of Idris alayhi salam, then Idris is the first prophet, maybe not the first, but the known prophet who died on the fourth heaven, was taken alive to the fourth heaven and has been a time traveler.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Allah, whether he traveled time or not, but he did ask for time. That's the first thing Hadith says.
Yeah.
That I want more time. And because he wanted to write more, because he was writing up every piece of knowledge that the angels were giving. And this is hadith we're talking about. And Harut Marut in the hadith is a certain story that we know that talks about the doors. The woman that they actually, they both wanted to marry the woman, or whatever was going on between them and the woman. That's irrelevant. But what the woman specifically asked for was the keys to the doors that they actually used to travel up and down.
Can you please explain this shortly, the whole thing?
Sure, yeah. Well, the collection of hadiths about Harut and Marut are not well respected in terms of their health. However, they still are here, and I want to use them because those are 1400 years old commentaries, even if they're not hadith.
Yeah.
So, why are they all of that Zaif text talking about all the intergalactic portals? Yeah. So the psychology was there. The proof of concept is there. I want to use the word psychology. The proof of concept of portals was within the Sahaba. So the story of Harut Marut goes through different hadiths. Is that there was a king who had a son who was really ill. And that was the test that was given to Harut Marut at the same time when the king was ruling here. The option of going to this planet and living the life and going through the test of human beings was given to three different parties. Two of the parties rejected that offer. That we won't be able to live up to this sort of test. And Harut Marut, by their own choice, they opted for it. So when they came in, this was the setting of the planet at that time. The king had a son who was really ill, and there was a disease nobody could figure out, and he was offering a lot of a reward for it. These two came in as regular folks of pious nature, and they in short, they fix up the child. And then the king really honored them, and they were the two most revered people on the planet at that time, at least in that nation. So they actually found out this girl who was really beautiful, and that was one of those tests that this was going on in the planet, because we're all going through those tests. A beautiful girl is one of the mightiest of tests. So these both of these angels, they really wanted to connect with that woman.
And here we've skipped the whole part of they were teaching magic and stuff like that.
I'm not going to that, because that is a detail. The Quran itself says that. I'm talking about the hadith only.
What happened?
The Quran actually talks about how people used to approach Harut Marut. Quran never said that they were teaching magic to them. Quran says they were warning them about the magic. So the woman that they really wanted to be with, she was seducing them. And she specifically asked for a trade, that yes, you can have me if I can have whatever you have. And they said, what do you want? What do we have? And she said, I want the keys to the doors that you used to go out and come back in every time. And they specifically said that we can give you anything, but the keys to the doors, because that's the only condition that we have to come here. That's the only promise we made, that we're not going to give those keys.
This is really surprising if it's a Zaif hadith, but still, why does it mention a portal?
Literally. Keys to the doors of the heavens.
Did this concept come in at that time, whoever made this hadith?
So, doors of the heavens. So she did end up seducing them, and they did fall for it, and they did give her the key, which could be anything. Could be a kalama, or could be anything that, that can actually make you go towards this word. Why are we talking about here? This is the word which is sababa. This is the word we're talking about here. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah is saying that we gave that to Zulkarnain. And we also to Khidr alayhi salam. So there's a lot more going on than we're told. And if you look at it a little more, and I don't even have all the collection, because there's so much, it is scattered so much that even in this day and age where everything is online and everything, we still have a hard time, because this sort of knowledge, since there was no psychology around this, it was not structured. That all of those knowledge, all of those ahadiths would be compiled in one book or one collection, which is relevant to these sort of concepts. So, but whatever we still have readily available, it shows us so much that it explains a lot more questions and answers to the core of the confusion that a thinking Muslim would have. So this is something which is why we need to know Harut Marut, the timing of Harut Marut through Ali bin Abi Talib. And one more thing before I actually go further, Ali bin Abi Talib and Abdullah bin Abbas, the two known geniuses of the history of the world. These are the two of the biggest scholars that you can possibly fathom. Your mind can not even adhere to the kind of level that they had achieved. Of course, Ali bin Abi Talib being way more superior, and then Abdullah bin Abbas later on coming in and lighten up the whole beacon of what Quran can do. One time, Abdullah bin Abbas just stood up, and I'll tell you why I'm mentioning it in a minute. In the majlis of the Sahaba, and he said, I can answer any question that you have. Any question, and there's a specific word he used. Any question from the universe. From the Quran, I'm going to answer any question that you have from the universe. One Sahabi stood up and said, that's a mighty claim, buddy, because there are a lot of things that Quran would not cover. It's not even in the subject. And he said, why don't you test me? Because I'm going to try and use the Quran, not my knowledge. I'm going to use this book. And the hadith about Abdullah bin Abbas is the fact that may Allah give you the knowledge of the book. So this is the prayer of the Prophet about him. So and he did answer the question, because the companion said, why don't you prove to me where the Quran says about when the Prophet was going to part us? And he said, okay, let me just tell you, the Quran is, he said, it's such an easy question, you should have given me a tougher one. The parting is the ayah, the surah, the Taghabun. He said that was the Quran was telling us the biggest of the biggest parting that you can possibly have as an ummah was the parting of the Prophet. And that was the 64th surah of the Quran. The Quran knew. The Quran told us that after the 63rd year, you will have the biggest separation that you can possibly imagine from wherever of all the things that you can possibly have. And the Prophet says that whoever dies and you're mourning whoever died, you should also, reciprocate my death over and see that, your loss is way less than any loss that you can possibly suffer. Now, this is how big of a loss that, of course, we all know that through our own love of the Prophet. The point is, this man, Abdullah bin Abbas, was given the prayer by the Prophet of the knowledge of the book. Make sure you remember it's a keyword here. Ali bin Abi Talib, another person, through the Prophet, we know that this is the peak of knowledge. That I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the door. And so these are the two people we know of. And ironically, these are the very two people that talk intergalactic all the time. And they keep using the Quran and Hadith to talk about portals and intergalactic things. About Zulkarnain, in Ibn Kathir, Ali bin Abi Talib is the person who says this is the man who got the power by Allah to travel in the clouds.
Travel through the clouds,
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, if he was traveling through the clouds, then everything else falls right in my perspective here.
Yeah.
Because the clouds is not those just clouds. Clouds is that portal, the ways that is going to open. That is going to seem like a cloud. And Ali bin Abi Talib is the person who says Harut Marut is in the time of Idris al-Islam. His son Hassan bin Ali bin Abi Talib is talking about Yajuj and Majuj having such a shape and structure that one of their ears are hanging, so they're so big that they're hanging down to the floor, and they're so big that they use one of their ears as mattress and the other as a blanket when they sleep.
There's exactly the same narration by Ali in Tafsir ibn Kathir regarding the people Zulkarnain meets. The people who complain that there's no shelter from the sun. He says that these are the people who would go into the water at the daytime and would come out at the night.
Well, maybe I'm confusing that.
And they are so big, they sleep on one ear and they use the other ear as a blanket.
Okay, yeah, well, I could be wrong in mixing up these two, but I'm pretty sure it was Hassan bin Ali's hadith that I'm quoting right now. So it could be.
But it's not about Yajuj Majuj. That's
maybe maybe that is the place where those are the same kind of creatures that live there.
Yeah.
Maybe those aliens are similar in structure.
Yeah.
We have small ears; those planetary things have bigger ears. So another of that proof of that is Dabatul Ard, the ayah in the last of the right after Yajuj Majuj, by the way.
Yeah.
The sign of Allah is going to come upon us, which is going to be an animal.
Yeah.
Who is going to start to speak.
Yeah.
And this is the Quran we're talking about. This is not any sort of weak hadith or any sort of historical event.
Yeah.
This is the future, which is spoken by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, that one of the signs that is going to be a creature that is going to roam around the planet.
Yeah.
And we say Dabatul Ard, all of a sudden we start to pull that out of this planet.
Yeah.
That is going to be a subterranean creature.
Yeah.
Or some amphibian or whatever. But if we look at this perspective, then Dabatul Ard is an intergalactic portal opening and some bird coming in or some animal coming in or some creature coming in, which is going to be speaking in the language of the Jews. Well, I'm saying Jews because at the time the ayah is talking about Jews in the Quran. Bani Israel is being addressed at that time. However, it could be anybody because this ayah is separate. So what I'm saying is,
we have to, I'm sorry to cut you off here. We have to keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He created 7 heavens, 7 earths, and then He says He created many creations between those.
Yes, Surah Bani Israel. Again, the same surah. That is the surah, among these 3 surah. Ayah 70.
That same ayah,
70,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, and Allah has the power to gather them whenever He wants.
As a sign.
Yeah, as a sign.
As a sign, yeah.
Yeah. So the point here is that if it's a sign, it has to be before the day of judgment.
Yeah.
Only
Otherwise, it's not a sign.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a sign. That's actually,
so
I think,
it's not the gathering of the Yawm al-Qiyamah, but it's a gathering where Allah says that He has the power whenever He wills. So this way, if Yajuj Majuj are some other creatures from some other planets, and Dabbatul Ard, or those birds who are gonna come and take the dead bodies of the Yajuj Majuj, all of them will be interacting with us.
Oh, for sure. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that. Secondly, the fact that, when we... Okay, let me give you another example here, because this is what we're talking about, the doorways right now. We're talking about Sudan here. That's why all of this is very relevant. When the time of Abraha, all of a sudden birds come in. Yeah. And it is written, the commentary, that the people of Makkah
said... That's the commentary of Surah Al-Fil.
Yeah. Okay. And the Abraha is the people of the elephant.
Yeah.
They say that we had not seen these birds before, nor did we see these birds again. These were not regular birds that came in.
Yeah.
And Yajuj and Majuj will be picked up by some birds. And that is something which we better understand, that there is no local planetary bird here that can pick up people by the millions.
Yeah.
And then, throw them in the sea.
Yeah.
So it's not a normal, scientifically explainable event. So let's just take the lens off of science and think of the multidimensional universe that we're living in right now, which are applicable to us every single second. We just can't see them.
Yeah.
And since we cannot see them, we think that they don't exist. My theory is very simple. It's not a theory. My iman is very simple. That I'm not even limiting it to 11 dimensions. Thousands and thousands of dimensions are shrunk into this universe.
Yeah.
And since we can only see 3 dimensions, everything else becomes ghaib. And that is what the Muslim is told to believe into. Not just the wahi, not just the angels, not just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, but the very fact that you are so limited of a creature that everything, well, at least most of everything, most of whatever the universe is ghaib to you.
Yeah.
And if you really want to believe, then you have to believe, if you want to gain guidance from the Quran, then you have to believe all of the ghaib.
Yeah.
Yu'minuna bil ghaib. That, I don't know why we just attribute Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only as ghaib.
Yeah.
That is, well, I also believe that some of those things are going to open up, because in the story of the prophets, when Salih alayhi salam, people started to ask for a sign of Allah.
Yeah.
And Allah says, ask them what you want me to put in that animal and make sure no one is left out. And somebody said size, somebody said this, neck, and that kind of ear of the camel, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And what happened then?
Yeah.
What happened right after? The stone actually opened up to give way to the camel to come into this planet.
Yeah.
You have to understand, this is, we as Muslims believe that it's a magic trick that Allah is pulling, which He can.
Yeah.
It's not a magic, the word magic has a negative psychology, but it's a magical event that Allah is.
For us, Yeah, miracle.
Well, no, I don't want to use the word miracle. The miracle itself is I'm talking about, I'm addressing the psychology here.
Yeah.
Miracle to a Muslim is a kun of Allah against all of those laws.
Yeah.
As soon as we think on those lines, we are actually committing a sin, in my opinion, a big sin that Allah didn't know what these people are going to ask for. This, in my own psychology, is going against the ilm of Allah. That someone came up with an idea that Allah didn't know about, and Allah said, okay, I'll answer you right now. So if people of Saleh asked for that camel was created millions of years ago. On a totally different planet. These guys just came up with whatever imagination they could come up with. Then Allah said, you know what, this is one of the many meadows that I have. Here you go. This is what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Because if we think for a moment as a Muslim that someone came up with a question and the prophet, any prophet, demanded Allah's miracle on it and Allah produced it at that time, that to me as a Muslim psychology, a person with a Muslim psychology, counters the belief of Allah is alim.
Yeah.
You know, because the qadr and the free will is on this planet.
Yeah.
Allah is not on this planet.
Yeah.
Allah is everywhere, and Allah was way before this planet, and He knows everything about whatever is going to happen later on. So the people, when they ask for miracles, those miracles come to life here, even though they're already registered somewhere else in the past. I'll give you an example here. When Shaqul Qamar happened, now there are a lot of hadiths which actually say that the Prophet ﷺ did split the moon.
Yeah.
The Quran doesn't say that. It's okay. I actually believe that the Prophet ﷺ split the moon. But it was supposed to be split in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at that time, those people actually asked, and the Prophet ﷺ split the moon, even though it was supposed to split in as one of those signs of the Qiyamah. And that's the psychology of a Muslim, that these sort of things, when they happen from an already placed arsenal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
And this is why I am going to quote another hadith, because we were talking about this, that Musa alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about the creations, other creations. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Musa that, should I tell you about one of the meadows, that there is a creature that is feeding in one of my meadows, that if you look at your own planet, it can swallow that planet in a single bite without even any hassle. This would be not even a meal for that planet, for that creature. And he is in one of the meadows of one of the many meadows that I have.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a coincidence that this ayah in Surah Bani Israel, ayah 70, it's not a coincidence this actually happens to be part of this constellation. You know what the ayah is? That we've created many creations. You are the better of many creations.
Yeah.
The better of many, not the best of all.
Yeah.
You know?
Although that's the most common belief, that
Muslims
beings are the ashraful makhluqat.
But that is not in Islamic literature.
Yeah.
It's Islamic culture, but not not in the Quran or Hadith.
Actually, some Mufassirin have derived this from ahsani taqweem. So from that they derive that we are the best of the creation. But from this ayah, it clearly shows that we are better than many, but not all.
But not all, and that's the point here. Because ahsani taqweem would mean when Allah creates anything, Allah creates it as the finest possible way.
Yeah.
So in my own opinion, even the ants are created as ahsan taqweem.
Yeah.
When Allah creates something, it is created at the ahsan taqweem.
Yeah, we can't create anything like that with that.
But again, I'm not going to contest against this very commentary of the ulama. What I'm trying to say is very simple things here. When we are going to open the portals of Zulkarnain, it's not the first time these portals are going to be opened. Because these have been on accounts in ahadith, in the Quran, so many times we just don't look at it.
Yeah.
Since in Surah Naml, when Ifrit is told to bring, Sulman asked who's going to bring the throne of Sabah, that's an actual portal that guy is opening.
Yeah.
Because this man, if he was trying to use any pathway, it would have he would have spent some time before he can bring the throne in. But the fact that he says before you can blink the eye, that means he's going to come and travel through time, and right at that very point in time he's going to bring it.
Yeah.
This is such an amazing fact, because it's in the Quran.
Yeah.
That this man did not spend any time to bring it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a hologram he presented in front of him.
Yeah.
He actually brought the real thing.
Very important point here is that when he was asked he said that it's the knowledge of book Allah has given.
Yes, that's what I'm coming at.
Yeah.
That's
That
the
he was
same.
not a jinn.
Oh yeah. That's did we not cover this event in?
I don't remember. Maybe we did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long series we're doing. So
Yeah.
the story is about Sulaiman alayhi salam, who is in his own palace at that time with all the jinnat and all the human beings on left and right side, and there's a big problem going on between jinn and humans at that time, in the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam, because both were trying to actually it was like a political thing going on between jinnat, that we're way more we're better than the human beings, and since Sulaiman is a man, so he actually sides with the men. So Sulaiman alayhi salam gives everybody a test here so that the jinn could know that human beings are only limited if they do not have the knowledge of the book. And if they have the knowledge of the book, they're far superior than any and every power that jinn has. All the jinns can have all the powers, but any human being with this power of the book can supersede and overpower any other thing. So he gives them the test, and Ifrit is the mightiest of all jinns at that time. Okay, and Sulaiman alayhi salam says, who of you guys can bring me the throne of Sabah? And that's the queen in Yemen at that time. And this is this is Jerusalem we're talking about. This is going on in Jerusalem, or wherever that placement is. The first temple, actually the second temple. Yeah. So Ifrit says, I am going to bring you that throne way before you can, or before you can spend enough time to stand up from where you're sitting. From wherever you're sitting to the time it's going to take you to stand up. And now look, this is a contest going on of time. Do not be confused about this. It is a contest going on about who can actually travel through time faster.
Yeah.
Not just the fact that you can bring such an amazing power you're going to show. That's a constant thing. You guys can or have the power to bring weird things and bring mountains from one place to another. The real contest is here about who can do it faster. This is what the Quran is saying.
Yeah.
Now we shouldn't be, mixing this up, because as a normal human being, bringing the throne of Sabah is such a big thing. We forget the fact that was not the rule of the game.
Yeah.
The rule of the game was both of you can bring it.
Yeah.
Who can bring it quicker?
Yeah.
The jinn says, I can bring you way before you can stand up. And the human says, I can bring you, that's too slow. Yeah. I'm going to bring it way before you can blink your eye.
Yeah.
And he does bring that throne back. And Sulaiman alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala narrates that detail there here in the Quran as well. That how did you do that? And he says, because I have the knowledge of the scripture. I have the knowledge of the scripture, knowledge of the book. So this is the book we're actually holding right now.
Yeah.
Now we have to understand how all of this comes into play, and how to place all of this into our psychology and raise our kids accordingly. So this is something which is so beyond science and beyond a natural psychology of a regular human being who's not told about this from day one and explained it through so many angles. Otherwise, what is the commentary? Read this surah and see what the commentary has. There is absolutely no answer to how did that man bring about the throne of Sabah. We're not going to go into detail of what happened later on, but this is the point here. So if there is a teleportation going on in the Quran, if there is a portal opening up in the hadith, if there is 1,000 years of age and bringing every animal in a single ark inside the Quran, if there is so much astronomy at the same time going on, then why are we not looking into Atba as-Sababa as one of those many things which is already in the Quran? And even if that's just my opinion, which is fresh right now, please reject it. Sahabas are actually using it. And if Sahabas are using it, then whatever the median between us and Sahaba, all the commentary between us and the Sahaba is, we should be able to not just place it according to the intellect of the people at that time, because that was the point of the Quran for those people, because at that time science they didn't even know what the concept is. So Sahabas, they actually had to get the absolute knowledge because they were gaining it straight from the Prophet. And the fact that we have testimonies from the Sahaba also signifies that this has to be preserved. We can't just, take it as one-off account of Abdullah bin Abbas or Ali bin Abi Talib and just, forget about it. That, this is something that might be useful at that time and not here because of some sort of people talking about these sort of things as imaginary or something. Sahabis are not like that. It's an absolute knowledge we're talking about here. It's not a temporary event that Sahaba is talking about this. We take Sahabis as permanent beacons of knowledge. And they are going to remain like that, inshallah, till the day of Qiyamah. So use this momentum and make sure we go into this next ayah. This is why this ayah is the most important. I told you before, this is where the whole concept comes to life, because all of a sudden Yajuj and Majuj are coming in. And I keep getting this question of why are we talking about Yajuj and Majuj so much? Because Yajuj and Majuj are connected to Zulkarnain. Zulkarnain is connected to this technology. This technology is converted to Dajjal. There's a simple trail. There is no confusion here. And how is Dajjal connected to Zulkarnain? Because Zulkarnain is in Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf is the key to open up every door. Now, the fact that Jews are also talking about the Yajuj and Majuj with the Messiah, that's not a coincidence. They're right, one after the other. They're in the same year. And maybe even in the same month for all we know, the way time is going to be, passing at that time, and the time of Isa's second coming, inshallah. So let's just go into this so that we can, talk about Dajjal more, about what was going on in the verse. Until when he reached a pass. Now the word pass does not occur in this ayah. Okay. So hatta idha balagha bayna saddain, he comes right in the middle, or is passing through the middle of these two barriers, these two portals, these two doors of two different portals opening up, or maybe two portals traveling parallel, and he's coming right in the middle. Could be anything, because he doesn't really specify the structure here. Wajada min dunihima qawma means the people who are found by Dhul-Qarnayn, and then the next ayah they say Qalu ya Dhul-Qarnayn inna Yajuj wa Majuj.
Just a reminder for the viewers that this nation, we can't restrict it for this earth. It could be anywhere.
Well, the case that we're presenting in this video series is the fact that this is not the planet Earth. Because even if it is planet Earth, which I doubt in through my perspective, it is in a totally different dimension. Even if it is planet Earth, it is not in this dimension. So they could hardly understand his speech. La yakaduna yafqahuna qawla means they couldn't really get most of whatever he was saying. And then they say, Qalu ya Dhul-Qarnayn inna Yajuj wa Majuj mufsiduna fil ard. I think we should go to the translation, because
so they pleaded, O Dhul-Qarnayn, surely Gog and Magog are spreading corruption throughout the land. Should we pay you tribute, provided that you build a wall between us and them? Wall here is وَبَيْنَهُمْ سَدَّةً.
Yeah, that's the same word that actually ends up بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَهُمْ سَدَّةً. So أَنْتَجَلَ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَهُمْ سَدَّةً means so that you can build one. So it's not.
So if we translate here Sadda as mountains, as in the previous ayah, it will be build a mountain for us between us and them.
So we'll have to stick to one meaning here. We can't just try and pick and choose that. They're the same word, and it's not like far away. It's like before this word in the the last ayah. Hatta iza balagha bayna saddain, and then antajala baynana wa baynahum sadda means it has to be carried forth. The same psychology has to be carried forth. And he did build up a wall. he did build a barrier. So he did close those barriers.
Yeah.
He came right in the middle of these two doorways, and he shut down one of those doors.
Yeah.
Or maybe he put a singular wall between these two doors. This could also be the case, because it doesn't really specify the whole architecture of things. So we can take all of these meanings.
Yeah.
But we cannot take the meaning of the word mountain here, because he didn't build a mountain. He actually asked for the metals coming up right.
Yeah, in the next time.
So we don't build metals and copper and iron and still
and build a mountain.
Yeah, build a mountain or call it a mountain later on.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, but the one thing that we always miss out here somehow is that they wanted to pay him. It's not something which is customary for anyone to pay the king.
No, I think all the nations used to pay tribute to the kings.
Yeah, not that the fact to build walls. They're actually talking about a salary here. Kharaja. That means kharjan. That
kharaja is the same
kharjan means
kharaj in Urdu.
Yeah. That means if you do this, we're willing to compensate you for it. I don't know. I just my head always gets stuck at the fact that why was this mentioned here, because it was not. He didn't even take the money. So the fact that he said specifically a very clear reply that whatever I have is way better than what you can possibly offer. So I don't need anything from you guys, but what I do need from you is manpower and whatever the things you're going to ask for right now. So the fact that the same word comes into play when Suleiman says when he saw the thing happening of the throne of Sabah, he said this is from Allah's rahmah only. Al-Khizr said the same thing, and here Zulkarnain is saying the same thing.
In the next ayah.
Number
95, he responded, "What my Lord has provided for me is far better, but assist me with resources and I will build a barrier between you and them."
Now here you go. That's the point I'm going to try and make. In the ayat 83 or 84, when we are saying bikulli shayin sababa, that does not mean he has power of everything. Yeah. Otherwise, he would have been like this, and every iron and copper would have just, merged up together, and he would have made a wall.
He would be asking them for resources.
Yeah, and even if he were asking for resources, he wouldn't have asked for whatever they were going to do with the resources as well. So he does not have that kind of power, which we actually start to assume. He's literally doing it under a regular, settings of how people come about and do their labor, and your regular social and physics laws of physics are applied here.
Yeah,
go on.
Okay. Ayah number 96.
Before we go to 96, now this word sadda is now radma here. Yeah. The word sadda was something that they wanted to. They were saying, and here, Zulkarnain is actually replacing the word sadda with radma.
Yeah,
and they wanted to build a sadda.
Yeah,
for him to build a sadda.
Yeah,
and he said, "I'm going to build a radma."
Radma. Yeah.
Now that's a totally different. See, this is what Zulkarnain is saying.
Yeah,
and he does build a radma.
Yeah.
So he doesn't build a sadda.
Yeah.
So let's just go back. Taj'ala baynana wa baynahum sadda. So you can bring about. Ja'ala is a totally different word here. Okay, and he said, "Well, I am not going to do that. I am going to build you a dam, which is going to stop this, rather than the kind of technology." Well, I'm giving you a perspective here. Whatever you're seeing right now as the doorway opening up, you see all of that thing, which could be anything. Could be just mist, or could be just thin air. Could be anything. Instead of me using that technology, I'm going to use something else. And so bring me iron and copper. I'm going to build a totally different technology. I'm going to use a totally different technology here.
Yeah.
Whatever you're used to, It's not something I'm going to do. I'm going to do something which I'm used to. So this is how we close this door. Or maybe he's a superior power. He uses a totally different technology. So he actually asked for iron and copper.
By the way, you use the word dam. That's the translation by Sahih International. But all the others, Dr. Ghali, Mustafa Khattab, Abdul Halim, they have used it as a fortification or a barrier or a wall.
Yeah, well, the dam is the wall. So a dam itself is a wall. So it's not much of a contradiction here. Even though barrier is way more suiting to the, you know, because it's not an actual...
because we do get an idea of the dam, you know. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah, that would just spin people off from whatever was going on actually.
So ayah number 96, bring me blocks of iron. Then when he had filled up the gap, the gap between the two mountains, he ordered blow. When the iron became red hot, he said, bring me molten copper and pour over it. I guess this is a very interesting...
Yeah, there's so much in this. I don't know where to begin. First and foremost, iron and copper, we know what you know.
Just give me a second.
Sure.
I want to read the Arabic of this so that you can stress on each word then. In ayah number 96, it says, آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا سأوى بين الصدفين قال انفخوا حتى إذا جعله نارا قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرة. Okay. So we have Zubar al-Hadid.
Sadafain. Sawa.
Yeah.
Sawa is the keyword here.
And Bain as-Sadafain. Bain also.
Yeah, well, Sawa is the gap. So Sawa Bain as-Sadafain. And then we have Kitran. So let's just read another English translation.
Okay. Abdul Halim says, bring me lumps of iron. And then when he had filled the gap between the two mountain sides, he said, work your bellows. And then when he had made it glow like fire, he said, bring me molten metal to pour over it.
One more. This is so important. We really need to...
okay, Dr. Ghali says, bring me ingots of iron. Until when he had leveled up between the two cliffs, he said, blow. Until when he made it a fire, he said, bring me, that I may pour out molten brass on it.
Okay. So let's just see. Iron. That means, well, I'm not going to push a perspective of being close to the star because stars actually produce iron.
Yeah.
So let's just say even if they weren't planets, they still would have iron.
But these guys had plenty of iron.
Oh yeah, so much. Plus they had the technology of actually at that time they could bellow, you know, all of that melting of iron as well. So it's definitely after the Stone Age and Bronze Age. The Stone Age.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Iron Age here. Yeah. So we're talking about Zulkarnain actually filling up a gap. Sawa baina sadafain. Now this word, if we go, let's just go back to ayah number 93. Actually, no, before that. Let me just. When he became, this is 93. We're going to. Let me just. I just don't want to miss out on anything. Because the same word actually appears so distinctly that we just don't want to.
Which one? Hadid?
The gap. Okay, it's okay. We can use it here, so don't worry. It's okay. So the question is, I'm going at ayah 93 again. Hatta iza balagha baina saddain. Okay. Now he has traveled across the saddain now. That's when he has he's found the people. Dunihima. Okay. And then beyond those pathways, or what they're saying is mountains, he's going to try and build up a radma. Okay. And now he's asked them to bring iron, and he's going to fill up a gap between the two mountains. Okay. Now let's just, because I know it's the case is that they're not mountains, so what are they? And what's iron got to do with this? Let's just say that they are portals. Does a portal just get shut down by an iron wall? Well, could be, but most probably not.
Yeah.
You know? So what was going on there? And how can we actually, if there is a portal, why can't you just go through the iron wall? Because the portal can actually open anywhere, right?
Yeah.
If Saleh's camel can come out from a stone, then Yajuj Majuj could just come out from this iron wall.
Yeah.
So the wall wouldn't really open up, because we're talking about a portal here. When a portal opens, it opens in air or in the ground, doesn't matter, in water. So that portal.
But we had an understanding that just like we have roads and pathways here on Earth, that's exactly how we have portals which are fixed. It just doesn't open anywhere.
Well, that's
they
one
are
of them.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, they're there, but when they open, they can open anywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, wherever they are, they're there.
They can open anytime. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, they don't really,
Plus,
the
we
point
don't
I'm trying to
know
make
as well
is
where they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the portal could be in a mountain, right?
Yeah.
When a portal opens in a mountain, the mountain's not stopping it. The mountain actually is opening it.
Yeah.
So if the portal is a portal between us, it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
No matter what we put there, that portal is going to open that piece of matter.
Yeah.
Right. So the iron wall might not be the best solution to close a portal. That's what my case is.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that yes, since he knows what the portal is, he is going to do something else. And that's why he said, no, I don't want your money. Let me just build up something which is going to go through the gap and it's going to fill it up.
And he said, I'm going to build a radma.
Yeah. He said, not what you're
sadda.
saying. Yeah. Not a sadda. I'm going to build a radma. I'm going to, block it. I'm going to build a block. That's the best word for it. I'm going to block this hole here. Now, this hole has to be blocked through.
So what were they asking? If he said that I'm going to block it, what were they asking? That radda?
They were asking.
They were sadda.
Well, what's the difference between these two?
That's what we're explaining actually.
Well, the setting is that when Zulkarnain comes through those pathways, they are asking for another sort of pathway to block or close them. And Zulkarnain is saying that this is not going to stop them. Opening up another door or closing it the way you want it to close, this is not going to stop them, because this portal, when they open it, it opens to anything. Even if it is water or, or a mountain or whatever, or air, they're going to open it up. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put a permanent block there. Because, if Zulkarnain was here, we would be like, why don't you build a wall? And he was like, this wall is not enough of a stop for anything that you're actually, for the thing that you're actually telling me to stop. Whatever those problems are. If Yajuj and Majuj here, he's going to be using a totally different technology to stop. And he is. That, in your opinion, whatever you see is what your psychology is. So that's why you're saying that, you see this sort of a doorway, why don't you close it like this? Yeah. And he said, no, it's not going to work. I'm going to put a permanent block here. And that's a radma. I'm going to block it. And that's why the commentary is about barrier.
Yeah.
That I'm going to make sure that I block it. Let me just use whatever I know, which Allah has given me as knowledge. So bring me iron and copper. I'll show you how it's blocked. This is what he's doing.
Yeah.
And now that we know a little bit of science of what happens when you layer ferrous over copper and then ferrous over copper, you actually are creating a magnet. And if you put enough heat energy or whatever energy that was used, because they were blowing fire on it, we can deduce that it was some sort of a magnetic field that he actually created. To close the doorway or block it or maybe just hide it. Or could be anything. Otherwise, let's just look at the flip side. Let's just assume all of this is wrong, what you're saying. And it's a classical meaning, two mountains and he looked at the big gap. Okay, this is the two mountains. Let me just build an iron wall so that they won't be able to cross it. But if there are mountains, that's the first thing they will be able to cross, because a mountain is something that you can climb.
Yeah.
Let's just say that was like a steep mountain nobody can climb. Let's just say, even though it doesn't say that. So he builds up a wall which actually around between the two mountains that nobody can climb. So if that kind of setting is on this planet, the kind of number that we have of Yajuj and Majuj, that wall, they don't need to cross. They can just, swarm around from other parts.
Yeah.
Not just to kill these people. It's all right. These people might not be killed because the mountains are too far and too wide. It'll be too much of an effort or too small of a gain. But they will be dispersed all over the planet.
Yeah.
This is the least of,
Yeah, because the wall's not built around the whole planet.
Even if it is built the whole planet, half of the planet is still gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be inaccessible to you and us.
Yeah. So if we had built a dome, then I can understand that. That there's in some dome somewhere underground. But it doesn't say anything like that here.
Yeah.
It just says that there are doorways, and he just blocks those doorways.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it as simple as it is, because any human being will be thinking, okay, let's just say he built a wall. Where is the wall? Okay, let's just say, no, the wall was broken down. So what happened to Yajuj Majuj? Because Yajuj Majuj are, through the hadith, told to Isa alayhi salam, after he kills Dajjal, that now we've opened up. Open is the word. Our people that nobody can kill. So take your people to Tur, and hide there. This is the direct hadith about the Yajuj and Majuj, which is Sahih, there is no doubt about this. And it makes perfect sense. Because the Quran says we're going to be sending Yajuj Majuj from higher places. This is the Quran was saying. This is the first time. The second time is used in Surah Anbiya. So higher places would also mean literally those places which the Quran keeps on saying, the Surah Naba, when the doors of the skies are going to open. And doors of the skies would naturally mean higher places. And even if that's not the doors, these are other doors which Quran is using. Okay, so when Yajuj and Majuj are going to open portals in the air, they're naturally going to be coming from higher places. Because that's how we look at the whole atmosphere and the sky and the whole heavens. So it's either that or they'll be coming from underneath us, and that's not what the Quran is saying. The portal can be opened from underneath. But these are the portals from interplanetary, right? So interplanetary movement. For example, if we look at where the moon is from the Earth, moon is in the same pan as planet Earth. But we look at the moon from as if it's in a higher place. You know what I'm saying? Sun and the Earth are not on top of each other. But it seems to us, because we're aligned vertically on the planet. Since we're aligned vertically, we see everything up there. And that's Hadibayan Saloon, which means higher places. And that makes a perfect sense in this whole context as to how are they going to be coming in. But when are they coming in? They're coming in at the time of Isa alayhi salam. If they're coming in the time of Isa alayhi salam, then where are they right now? They better be on this planet, because they'll be breeding till Isa alayhi salam comes in. And if we cannot see them right now, that will only mean that we have not discovered this planet. So much so that we have not discovered most of this planet, because these people are 999 to 1. Okay, by at least. Okay. So these people either have come in, and a lot of scholars say that they came in way before you can talk about. Then why are we talking about Isa alayhi salam and Yajuj Majuj? Why is Isa alayhi salam going to kill them? And why Allah is saying that we've opened up Yajuj and Majuj? So there cannot be the Chinese or the Caucasians. There cannot be, because Allah is going to tell them that now we've opened up. It's a far-fetched idea that at that time America or Europe is going to fight against Isa alayhi salam, and Allah is going to say, now I've opened up NATO.
Yeah.
So go to Koitur. How come NATO forces won't be able to go up to Koitur?
Yeah.
This is another. We're just putting our own selves in a lot of knots here, but just by just not simplifying things through the course of events, which this surah is clearly saying. So this makes a lot more sense in this context, and that's why I'm trying to go in so much detail. So the next word is sadafain. Sadafain is
in ayah number 96.
We're back in this. Hatta idha sawa bayna sadafain, which means shell. And sadaf means shell, the two shells. That also makes sense, because when we look at that shell, that sadaf means it's a spiral with two openings. Which, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
So if he had a door-like structure with the spiral movement, it would look like sadafain, and that's okay. And that's what we're actually talking about. But if we don't treat it like a wormhole or a portal or whatever, then why is this a new word coming in this ayah?
Yeah.
Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not talking about jabal?
Yeah.
Or or anything of that, like
or Saddain.
Or Saddain, Saddain. So all of a sudden this becomes that part of the passage that actually is swirling around and is opening up into this place where they're standing.
Yeah.
So he creates a certain charge or a certain
you have to actually explain more about Sadaf and Sadafain here.
We'll just try and put a picture of that shell in this video on the screen, that you can actually see that this is what the seashell, not the seashell, but there's a certain word for it in English. It's on the tip of my tongue right now.
Snail?
No. Yeah, well, snail also has that sort of a shell. Yeah. Ironically, the same sadaf exists inside the human ear.
Yeah.
The very shape and the very form of that sadaf is in one ear. So two would mean sadafain.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at that structure, you'll find out that Ashab al-Kahf are actually, using that same
Darabna
ala adhanihim means that certain sort of sound was struck on the ear.
Yeah.
So if we use that I'm not trying to connect Ashab al-Kahf here. What I'm saying is, if you look at it, you'll be amazed that it's a little too much of a thing. It's too overwhelming. This coincidence is too overwhelming. I'm not going to call it coincidence. So when you look at that sort of a shell, then you'll find out that this is two tapering ends, which are openings, with a big swirl in the middle, which looks like that shell that the Indians use for the horn. Yeah, exactly, like a horn-shaped thing. So
that's generally the shape of a portal or a wormhole.
Yeah, that's exactly how physics actually defines a wormhole or a portal. Because if you look at even though they're the same size of the doorways, but since they're farther from it's called the linear parallax. If you look at if you stand on the train track, you're going to think that the edges of the train track are wider here, and they start shrinking together the farther you see. Just like that, if you see a portal in the sky, you'll see that the bigger door is swirling into a smaller door.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it look like a horn.
Yeah.
And this is what sadaf actually looks like.
Yeah.
When you look at those Indian civilizations, they still use it.
Yeah.
And they pick up a horn, even though it's not a horn, it's a shell, which actually makes that sound of announcement and everything. And that's also in the same perfect spiral of the Fibonacci series, which is which is called the signature of God.
Yeah.
That this is how everything is in a perfect proportion. And also Now we found out that the Earth and all the planets are swirling around the sun in the Fibonacci motion, and they're actually traveling. It's not a linear, a motion of the planets in the x-axis. They're actually moving up or wherever they're headed, and that's the exact spiral that everything is making. So the whole solar system looks like a big portal when you look at it from that angle. However, the word sadaf actually holds this big of a meaning. So Baina Sadafain would also mean, and I was reading this, there's two Arabian students who made this documentary on how a portal would actually mean. They used the word sadaf as well. And they said the sadaf would convert into Sadafain because the two edges would actually mean the Sadafain. A single edge would mean a single door was sadaf, which of course, actually I think they're Armenian they were speaking Arabic. So what I'm saying is, it could be a singular path opening at the Zulkarnain end and the other path opening at Yajuj Majuj end. Okay, and that would mean Sadafain.
And he would between them, he meets these people.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Or beyond it, and and he comes from one end, goes to the ends of Yajuj Majuj, blocks it there, and then comes in here, and then blocks it here as well. That could easily be done, and that explains how he's using copper over iron or iron over copper over iron. Again, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to use it as two different ends of a tunnel. I'm going to think that he actually blocked that portion which was opening in the part of the planet where these people are, even though that is connected to the trajectory of Zulkarnain coming to going there. Obviously, if Zulkarnain blocks the pathway of every portal, then Zulkarnain is not going to come back. You have to understand that. So he's in the middle of these two pathways. One is from wherever he's coming in, and one is where the Zulkarnain comes in from. Yajuj Majuj, and he blocks that entry, and he comes back. So it's a simpler way of looking at it, and so that you can understand how this whole ayah comes to life, brings to life such a big perspective and picture of what was going on there. So again, Radma is the block. Sadda is what they actually were used to. Saddain is something which is the two paths opening in. And should I just draw that here? Zulkarnain comes into this planet from this gap. That's one. And he looks at that planet, people, and then there's another path from that planet going somewhere else. And they said that, Yajuj Majuj come in, and he says, okay, let me just block this one. Let me just block this one, because now there's Saddain here. But I'm not gonna use, this door. I'm gonna use something else. Just give me molten iron, and then he melts it out, puts copper on it, does whatever he can, and then he uses his own pathway to come back.
Exit.
So that's the actual simple way of using the word Sadafain. And then we go to the next. Is there something I'm missing out here?
No. Okay. No, we covered it. Alhamdulillah. In ayah number 97, it says, and so the enemies could neither scale nor tunnel through it.
Here you go. So scale or tunnel means going up or under it. So scale means over. And tunnel through. So that means it's not just a wall. It is a kind of block that, because if it's not in space, they can tunnel under it. Why can't they tunnel under it? There's nowhere in the ayah it says, because if there's a gap in the mountain, why can't they tunnel under it? Because he just filled up the gap in the mountain according to the classic translation. So if it is a hanging up portal and you just block it, no, you cannot, because, it's a tunnel. Every portal is a tunnel. You can't dig under it, because if you go under it, you're in your own dimension. The only way to come into my dimension is through that opening. So this is why they can't just dig over or under it. Because that's a sealed tunnel. It's not in our hands, because the way a black hole or a wormhole or whatever, because black hole could be a portal for all we know. We can't just go over the edges of the kind of path that we've actually created or was created or is already there, because that path exists in a totally different dimension. The opening is the only entry into the next dimension where your prey is, if you want to eat something. Because if you don't go through that very layer of the door, you're still going to be in your own dimension. So that's why they can't.
We have to keep in mind, if it was a wall, that too on this earth, we know that Yajuj and Majuj, they are civilized enough. They have like weapons and everything, which they're going to be using when they come on Earth.
They'll be shooting arrows in the air.
So if they have this much technology, so they can easily dig under the wall or climb over it. Okay, so ayah number 98, Dhul Qarnayn said, "This is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord comes to pass, he will level it to the ground, and my Lord's promise is ever true."
Before we go there, the last ayah, the word was, I'm sorry, I missed out, yazharu.
Neither can they pierce it. Yadharuhu.
This also means to look at. Okay. So you have to understand, this is a
لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ.
Well, that's also
Zahir. Zahir, right?
Zahir. This word could actually clearly also mean that they can't even see this wall, and nor can they hit it. Naqba also means you strike it. Okay, they can't even see it, nor they can strike it. But again, since I'm not going to try and stretch my kind of meaning, because I'm
Dr. Ghali says able to surmount it, because when we say yadharuhu ala dini kulli, means it's gonna dominate, come over.
I understand. I'm just saying this root word has a very clear meaning, that they can't see it, nor are they be able to
pass over it, cross over it, or even bore it. Okay.
Again, the same word, Qala hadha rahmatun min Rabbi. Same word as Hazrat Sulaiman is used, Hazrat Khidr is used.
And Zulqarnain also uses the same word. Ayah number 99, on that day we shall let them surge against each other like waves, and then the trumpet will be blown, and we shall gather them all together.
Before we go there, what you're 98, right?
99.
Okay, before there's this teacher of mine who used to say that this is the kalima to open up different doorways, because every time a doorway is open, this is the same ayah. So if you recite this ayah at the time of Ad-Dajjal, you'll be opening up the doorways.
Wow, which one?
Hadha rahmatun min Rabbi. Hadha rahmatun min Rabbi. This ayah is placed so well in those very, very occasions when this sort of supernatural event is happening, especially teleportation and in teleporting and opening the portals. So and we will leave them that day surging over each other. You're at 99, right? What your translation says?
It's Dr. Mustafa Khattab says, on that day we will let them surge like waves over one another. Later the trumpet will be blown, and we will gather all people together. Well,
that's the day of judgment. However, the first part is about Yajuj and Majuj. And they will be swarming over each other. That would mean that they're in millions. And they will be swarming over each other and surging over each other. What else can we possibly say about this, except the fact that the way this is described is the way we should imagine them and see them. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left them for the kill, and this is also a very clear way of us knowing that this is not an event from this planet, because look at the choice of words, and if we look at a portal opening on this planet and a whole creature being coming in with the whole army which has been breeding for thousands and thousands of years, then yes, that is the kind of ayah that actually fits the meaning of that.
There's a hadith also like
Wasps.
wasps.
Yeah, this talks about, they're swarming like wasps are swarming,
Wow.
It's I don't know why we can't just use it as regularly as possible as to how, see, the wasp, I mean, they're not ants,
Yeah.
they're not termites.
Yeah.
Wasps, I mean, they'll be coming from the air.
Yeah.
This is actually, giving us that
Wasps
sort of
fly. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Wasps attack you from the air. A stampede is a regular thing, with animals running and anything.
ground, yeah.
But the hadith says,
Wow.
they'll be swarming like wasps.
Yeah.
So they're, with the kind of ears that, they will be looking like wasps, and people will be thinking they're flying because of the kind of ears that they have, and they're just coming in from the air. But, to my mind, it's such a perfect picture of this, how the Quran is actually using Zulkarnain to describe all of this.